we want to simplify the given complex fraction, and we'll take a look at simplifying the complex fraction using two different methods. So beginning with the given complex fraction, for method 1, we simplify the numerator and denominator of the complex fraction. But notice in this case, the fraction on the top and the fraction on the bottom don't simplify. Notice x squared minus 5 does not factor, and therefore we move to step 2. Step 2 is to write the complex fraction as a division problem. Remember, a fraction bar means division, so because this fraction bar means division, we can write this as the fraction on the top divided by the fraction on the bottom. And dividing by this fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, so we can write this quotient as a product where the first fraction stays the same. Then we have times the reciprocal of the second fraction, which would be the quantity x squared minus 5 over x. So we do want to think of the quantity x squared minus 5 as a single factor, so if it's helpful we can write this in parentheses. Before multiplying, notice how we do have a common factor of x squared minus 5 between the numerator and denominator. And therefore these two common factors would simplify to 1. If we want, we can put a 1 there just to remind us these are 1s, they don't just disappear. Now we can multiply. In the numerator we have 4 times 1, which is 4. In the denominator we have 1 times x, which equals x. So the complex fraction simplifies to 4 over x. Now let's look at method 2. So beginning with the given complex fraction again, and because x squared minus 5 doesn't factor, I'm going to go ahead and put that in parentheses here and here. And now for method 2, we begin by determining the least common denominator of the fractions in the numerator and denominator. And this is pretty straightforward because there's only a single fraction on top that has a denominator of x squared minus 5. There's also only a single fraction on the bottom with the same denominator of x squared minus 5. So x squared minus 5 is the LCD. Step 2, we multiply the numerator and denominator of the complex fraction by the least common denominator, which means we're going to take this complex fraction and multiply the top by x squared minus 5 and multiply the bottom also by x squared minus 5. Remember, if we multiply the numerator and denominator of a fraction by the same value or same expression, we do get an equivalent fraction. So now when we multiply, if it's helpful, we can think of this x squared minus 5 as a fraction with a denominator of 1, and notice how there's a common factor of x squared minus 5 between the numerator and denominator, which would simplify to 1. So multiplying on the top here, we just get 4. Now multiplying in the denominator, again notice how we have a common factor of x squared minus 5 between the numerator and denominator, because this is a fraction with a denominator of 1. X squared minus 5 over x squared minus 5 simplifies to 1. So multiplying here, we just get x times 1, which equals x. So obviously both methods work, and we get the same simplified fraction for the given complex fraction. I hope you found this helpful.